Hey everyone. Uh, Before we get started here today, I just want to let you all know if you happen to leave a comment on my videos and it disappears, it isn't me. YouTube is at it again. I'm losing a lot of comments. So if there's something you need to ask me, you can email me or just put it back down in the comment section. I'm sure the second time it'll get picked up. I do apologize for that. I don't know what's causing it, what kind of algorithm they're using, but um, it seems to be okay for a while, and then they'll start deleting comments. So, with that being said, what we're going to do today is a craw style jig again. It's going to be a real easy craw in my rusty craw pattern. Really good and very simple in that the style of craw that I tie a lot. In the vise, we have a 1/4 ounce football jig, and it's got a 1/0 owner 5316 hook. This is a 2x strong hook. It's like the 5313 on steroids. Very good hook. This one you could throw on casting gear. Medium power casting rod, 12-pound line, no problem whatsoever. You could throw this a lot of different places. I use it on a medium power spinning rod a lot, but I also do use the medium casting rod from time to time with this particular jig. And this is going to be what I call a rusty craw pattern. The color is crawdad. I know it's hard to see because you get this glare, but this is almost a matte finish. There's not a lot of shine to it. Little black flake in there. I know I described this before, but really good color for this. So I'm going to start here, and I'm going to take a little bit of Loctite super glue brush on and just put a little on the collar and a little on the hook shank there. And we're going to use some brown 210 denier flat wax nylon thread, and we'll get our base started. And snip off the excess. You just want to take this down to the hook point, not much further. Again, this is going to be real easy to tie in this rusty craw pattern, this type of craw jig. So we have our base started, and the first thing we're going to do, just like most of these, this type of craw, is we're going to take some bucktail. This is brown bucktail, and we're going to put it in, and we're going to want this about an 1.25 inches or so beyond, but I'm going to tie it all the way up up to the head of the jig once I get this trimmed off here. Look at me. Didn't even advance my thread. Just one of them days, people. My fingers stuck together a little bit. If you turn your volume up, you might hear them snap apart. That was funny. I got almost panicked a little bit because, as most of you know, I don't edit my videos, so that would have been fun watching me trying to get my fingers unstuck. And I'm just making sure I have the hair going all the way around the hook before I really cinch it down. And now I'm going to go back up now that I got everything where I want it. And just make sure that bucktail is tied down. And the reason I go all the way up top there is, again, bucktail's a little slick, and if with the having so little hook shank there, I don't want it to be able to pull out, even though I'm 99% positive it never happened. I still want to make sure that we're not going to have that issue. So now we're going to make a little chenille ball here, and I'm taking just a little piece. This is medium ultra chenille, and it's in the olive color. And all you got to do with this is the same thing. You take a little bit off of the end. Now with the ultra chenille, the major difference with this is the hair is, or fibers or whatever you want to call it, is on here really tight. It's a real durable chenille. Can use this for anything. I tend to use a lot of pearl chenilles and tinsel chenilles and things of that nature to get some flash, but in this case I don't want that. And we're just going to tie it in, and we're going to make a little ball. And I don't want a large one on this. Like, I don't want to create a real big space in between the claws. Just enough for separation. That's good. We'll trap it down. And I'll take that little bit of excess off. Now, this is a little length of brown, round living rubber. Medium grade. I'll leave a link to it. As with everything, I'll leave a link to in the description box. But I know a lot of, if you get it from another place that sells like fine, medium, and heavy round rubber, you're going to want the medium grade. So all I'm going to do is just lay this on one piece, or one strand on each side of the hook. And we'll tie it in just a little bit onto the collar, just to keep it secure. It looks pretty good. And now we're going to add our claws. And you want these about 1.5 inches or so past the bend of the hook. I already cut them. This is rust. That's the color of these rabbit strips, rust. And what I do is I take the first one. I already cut these ahead of time, just to try to make it so my video isn't so long. That's why I pre-cut a lot. And I'm going to tie that in. I'll lash it down, just the top. And you see how I put that on top. And the reason I'm putting it on top there is it keeps me from getting too much separation. Like if I tie it completely on the side, that's fine, but I sort of want my claws to ride up rather than off to the side. It's when you see it in the tank, you'll understand. But like I said, I'm making a mountain out of a molehill here. This is a real easy one to tie, and it's a little different than the other ones. It's the same style of craw, but there is a little difference, and you'll see that shortly. The hardest part is making sure we don't move those claws as we're tying them in. Want to keep it nice and tight. And now I'm going to flip this over. We're good. Now, another length, medium, olive, ultra chenille. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take the end of this off to expose the core. You see a little white piece. Tie it in like that. And then we're going to take some olive brown UV polar chenille. And I like the UV just because it has that purple glint to it. And when I start this, I'm just going to take the end here and I'm going to cut some of them fibers off, the little pieces of flash. You get all over. And I'm going to tie that in right above the ultra chenille. Now I'm going to start wrapping my ultra chenille first. Just till we get this first wrap. That's the hardest part because like I said, I tied it in that the polar chenille is above that first wrap of the ultra chenille. And it's just because I don't want the flash extending too far down into that rabbit strip. I'm going to wrap all the way up to the head with just a little tiny space there right before we get to the very top. Looks pretty good. So now we're going to take our polar chenille and I'm going to start wrapping that the same way. Keep it nice and tight, and you can work this in the area where you made all your wraps with your ultra chenille. This is, I know it looks harder, but it's actually easier than wrapping a feather. And it's a different look in the water. You get a lot of flash, and you actually get action off of this chenille. And take it all the way up to the head. And I like the medium-sized polar chenille. They do make a smaller one, but I kind of like the flash longer because they do make them. I guess it's a small size where the little bit of hair or flash or fibers coming off of it, it's about a ½ inch, where these are about 3/4 of an inch. But I like the longer one. You can always trim down the longer ones. And I like using it as a collar, and I think it provides a little bit of action as well. It lays down nice when you're wrapping it around chenille, which is how I use this material most of the time. Where with the shorter stuff, when you wrap it, it tends to want to stick out, where the longer will lay back for you. Just to give you some perspective on that. So now we're just going to whip finish it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Cinch it. Go 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're coming up on that time of year where this is going to start getting good. These types of jigs are really well suited for the colder water. So I'm going to take my water-based head cement, throw it on there, and then I'll show you what we have. I'm not done yet either, so I'm going to trim off the rubber antenna because it is a little long. And where I want to cut that is just a little bit beyond, the claws, because we want some action out of it, but we don't want it to be too much movement up front there. Looks unnatural. Let me get my clamps here. I'm having a rough day today. I apologize for that. That is the Rusty Craw. Olive brown polar chenille, olive ultra chenille, and we got this rust colored rabbit hair rabbit strip claws. We got brown antenna, and we got the crawdad colored head. It's the same style of craw I normally tie, but different pattern. And like I said, with this heavier hook, you can use a little bit beefier tackle with it, and it's actually easier to tie using the polar chenille than a feather. Real easy pattern. I know I make it look hard. I apologize for that. It's one of those things. But tomorrow I am going to do a tank test. As long as nothing comes up, I should have the time to do it. And this will be one of the ones that is going to go in the tank, and you'll see how that is. It's being that it's a shorter jig, a little bit smaller, it'll stand up just like that. And you got this a little bit shorter shank than the other craw that I put in the tank. Overall, I think you'll like it. Give it a shot. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching.